Happy April Fools, everybody. It is April 1st. It is officially spring. It's been officially spring for a little bit of time. Welcome to another fishing podcast. It's just going to be me today, but it's been a while. I'm sorry I haven't done this for a while. No Pete Wagner today, but we will get him back on here soon. I am super excited to be talking with you today because we have so much to cover. For instance, I've done some filming on a couple of gigs here, Bass Pro Tour gigs, so I want to talk to you about the Bass Pro Tour gigs that I've been on, like the Red Crest and the Stage 2, all kinds of fun stuff there to talk about. And I've been using the Berkeley Finisher. I got to tell you, this Berkeley Finisher, I've got experience with this thing now, this new hard bait from Berkeley. It is shockingly good. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. There is a bass professional, a guy that is fishing professionally that is using AR glasses for live scoping. So we're going to be talking about that. And also, they're using these things now for ice fishing. We don't have a whole lot of ice fishing left. In fact, most of the ice fishing down where I'm at is gone. But you're up in Canada, you're still doing it. That's what we're going to be covering today and probably a lot more. Let's get into it.
This isn't another fishing podcast. This is another fishing podcast.
All right, so I have been filming I can't even remember when Another Fishing Podcast 51. We're on Another Fishing Podcast 52 now. I can't even remember when the last one was that we've done, but there's been a lot going on. I have done 2 Bass Pro Tour gigs. I did Stage 2 in Santee Cooper, and then also the Bass Pro Tour Red Crest, so the Bass Pro Tour Championship called Red Crest. Did both of those gigs, very, very cool events. So I kind of want to just start out with that and talk about that because there's some really, really cool stuff going on there. For instance, so I was filming, Matt Becker during the knockout round of the Bass Pro Tour. And Matt Becker is one of these guys that has got all the bells and whistles on his boat. He was the Bass Pro Tour Angler of the Year last year, and he's got all kinds of bells and whistles on his boat. And super nice guy, excellent angler. It's always fun to kind of see what's going on his boat because I'm a big, when it comes to fishing, I'm a big kind of techno geeky sort of that. I'm that way with cameras too. I'm not a technical guy, but I like all the new contraptions that come out. So Matt Becker has got this, he's got the bass brakes, and I think I may have talked about this before. I don't know if I necessarily said that Matt Becker had the bass brakes on his boat, but he's got them. And there's some other guys that have them now. So just check this out, man. These are where it is at as far as if you want all the latest, greatest stuff on your boat. You want to take your boat that might have been, stock only $80,000 when it was new. Now you can put all these bells and whistles on it, make it go all the way over $200,000, man. It'll just go crazy. But I tell you, I'm not going to lie. If I had the money or, the support to, the sponsor support to do it, I don't know that I wouldn't do the same darn thing, to be honest. I'm just, I like to, if you've listened to this podcast for any length of time, I like to complain about a lot of stuff, but I'm harmless, okay? I'm also a hypocrite. And these bass brakes are pretty amazing. They really help you if you're doing forward-facing sonar. They really help you to quickly, with these new trolling motors up front, they allow you to quickly cover water, quickly. Just super fast. Cover the water column with your forward-facing sonar. See where the fish are. But these bass brakes, once you found the fish, you're going Mach 5, right? Once you found the fish, these bass brakes, you hit them and they just stop you cold. So, and then, it's just about boat positioning better and really taking advantage of just this forward facing sonar craze. So that's what Becker, I just wanted to share that with you. That's what Matt Becker has on his boat now, these bass brakes, which they're really wild, man. I remember when power poles came out and I was like, wow, okay, that's going to be added cost. But then I got to, seeing how useful they were. And I'm like, yeah, these need to be on every boat. And then I don't know if it'll be that way with bass brakes, but equally very, well, maybe not equally impressive, but impressive nonetheless. They are just another one of the gadgets, another one of the tools that you can put on your boat to just be a better angler. I would say that it's getting kind of to a point where I don't know that, I hope that the average angler doesn't think that they need all these things, right, to make fishing fun. You don't. Absolutely. I got hooked on fishing, just fishing from the bank. But if you're an advanced angler, a competitive angler, and you can afford this stuff, have at it, man. I'm all about it. I've gone over my opinions on, competitive fishing. I think there needs to be tiers. At the very top level, you can have all the gadgets. The lower levels, I think there needs to be something that isn't so cost prohibitive for the younger anglers, maybe the anglers that don't have as much money, as much sponsor support to help them also get in the sport. Maybe there needs to be some governors, if you will, that you don't need all that stuff at the lower levels to compete effectively. But I've talked about that before. Let's move on. So that was the Bass Pro Tour. I'll go into more here about Matt Becker. I got so much to cover here, so I just want to make sure. I have zero memory anymore. I am 48 years old, and just because of excessive alcohol abuse and other substances, I don't have the memory that I used to. So please bear with me. So I'm looking at my notes here. Okay, so I have to tell you, so this Santee Cooper event, the Bass Pro Tour Stage 2, I'm really getting revved up. I mean, when I first start these things, especially after I haven't done it for a while, I'm just kind of locked up, man. I need a little bit of lubrication. My lubrication today is Coke Zero. Probably gonna shorten my lifespan, but we're gonna move forward. We're not going to talk about all the stuff that people are eating nowadays and drinking that is probably shortening our lifespans. But back to Stage 2. So the Bass Pro Tour, Matt Becker proved to, okay, so I have thought, I've said this many times, the Bass Pro Tour format, the Major League Fishing format, that when they first started with the Cup events, went to the Bass Pro Tour, they brought that format over. I think they'll probably do that with the other Major League Fishing tournaments that aren't the Bass Pro Tour eventually. But it is a superior format, okay? I came from the old school days of the Bassmasters, 5-fish limit. I mean, I fell in love with bass fishing because of that show and that organization, Ray Scott. I fell in love with bass fishing, competitive fishing. And so I have a special place in my heart for the 5-fish limit. But as far as a spectator sport, okay, as far as something that you're watching on television, that's what sports is supposed to be. You have to have spectators. You have to have people that want to watch your product, okay? So it needs to be as exciting as possible. And I understand that in fishing, that can be a bit difficult because fishing is very subjective. It's very much it's a personal thing. It's hard to convey that in television. God knows I've been doing it or trying to do it for 24 years. Okay, I've been in the business, television production business, specifically in outdoors and fishing for 24 years, and I've been trying to do it effectively. It's very, very difficult. Okay, but this Bass Pro Tour format it's a superior format. And I know that's controversial because people love their 5-fish limit, and and it's not just even the 5-fish limit so much that Major League Fishing has, okay? The fact that you have periods, right? So you have time, you have a cutoff time where an angler has done fishing, they have to have a fish in the boat by let's say they hook up, they got to get a fish over the gunnel. They only have a certain amount of time to do stuff, okay? And that leads for very dramatic elements within the Bass Pro Tour. And I think it makes it much more palatable for a spectator, especially like a new spectator coming into it. And and it just is more exciting. And I witnessed that, okay? I witnessed it firsthand. I filmed it with Matt Becker, Stage 2, Santee Cooper in South Carolina for, the Bass Pro Tour. I'll just get into it. This is from MajorLeagueFishing.com. So on their website, okay, they had an article about it. I want to read this little snippets here first about how Matt Becker got in to the championship round. I think he then because of this, he got into the championship round. Okay, this was a while back, a few weeks back, so my memory's kind of hurting. But this article is going to help me refresh my memory. But it's going to exemplify. Is that the right word? I don't know. It's going to describe very, very well. And then the video that I'm going to play here shortly is also going to very well describe why this is a superior format for at least spectators. Okay, so let's get into it. This is from MajorLeagueFishing.com. Becker's clutch catches cap frantic final period. For just about everyone except Justin Lucas, it looked for much of the day like the sunny post-vernal conditions that greeted the knockout round competitors had dampened the bite. But as they have all week, the lunkers that live in Santee Cooper showed up in a major way down the stretch. 7 of the 14 bass that weighed more than 6 pounds hit the scales during period 3, including 4 of the 5 8+ pounders. No surprise that action resulted in a roller coaster ride around the cut line. James Watson, Dave Lefebvre, Casey Ashley, and Matt Becker all fell out of the top 10 at various points in the final stanza before finishing the day above the elimination line. So if you don't understand, if you're kind of new to Major League Fishing and you don't even know what I'm talking about, this is the knockout round for the anglers to get into the championship round. That will, only the top 10 guys can get into the championship round, the final day. This group, I think it's 20 guys. I can't remember. It was 40 guys altogether, maybe. I should know this, but they changed things up a bit this year. So it's either 40 guys or 20 guys got to get in the top 10. So they've even whittled down the previous competition days. They've whittled it down to just 40 or 20 guys. I cannot remember that, okay? But that's the knockout round, okay? That's the second to last day. Those guys got to make it into this top 10. All right, to make it to the championship round, they have to have enough weight. And here's the other thing about the Bass Pro Tour. The fact that you have, every fish counts, it's just there's more stuff going on. There's people being passed, and there's a lot more activity going on. I think when they moved to the variable weight, it became, people were complaining about it being just a small fish, people just targeting small fish. So they brought it up to, typically it's like around 2 pounds. I think that has helped out dramatically. And so any fish around 2 pounds, something like that, you can count it, catch, weigh, release. It's better for the fishery. I can go on and on and on. Why? Just the Bass Pro Tour, the Major League Fishing format, just how they're operating is a superior deal. All right? So what was I saying? So these guys need to get in the top 10, and there's a time limit, right? So there's 3 periods a day, 2 breaks, okay, in between those periods. And so they only have so much time, and there's a lot of dramatic elements that can happen because of that. And it's super exciting. For a guy that, has a heavy camera on his shoulder all day, I've been standing out there all day in all kinds of extreme elements a lot of times, it really keeps you in tune to the action, okay? Especially if you're a fisherman like myself. So these guys got to get in the top 10, and they're running out of time when it gets towards the end of the day, right? So there's a timer and everything, and they only have so much time. And so let me just continue on with this article. No one rallied in a more dramatic fashion than Becker. The reigning Fishing Clash Angler of the Year spent virtually the entire afternoon outside the top 10, with less than 5 minutes left before lines out, he still needed a 3-pound, 14-ounce bass to claw his way inside the cut. Okay? And I'm filming this whole thing, and I'm like, dude, I mean, Becker's a stick, okay? So I knew it was possible, but I knew it was a mountain to climb. So Becker returned to the spot where he'd caught most of his fish and picked up a Bill Lewis hammer trap. This is a new lure that Bill Lewis has come out with. It's a lipless crankbait, and I like it. It looks really, really good. A few casts in, the decision paid off with a bite, but the bass weighed 313, 1 ounce shy of what he needed to overtake David Dudley. Instead of wasting precious seconds by asking his marshal to reweigh the fish, Becker quickly made the same cast and hooked up again. This time, his catch, a 212, proved plenty big enough to clinch him a spot in the championship round with less than 2 minutes to spare. Talk about clutch. And yeah, so I'm telling you, it's just better all around. And I know people are they're set in their ways. I'm not going to disparage any organization here, okay? I work in the industry, so it does not behoove me to do that. I wouldn't do it anyway. But the reality is, just for the sport of bass fishing, this is better, y'all. This is better. Forget about the politics and all the nonsense going on with that. I can't stand any of that. I want what's best for fishing in this regard, what's best for bass fishing, competitive bass fishing. This is the best deal, I'm telling you. And to show you what I'm talking about, you'll be able to watch my fantastic videography here. Check this out. All right, I got to bring the volume up. Here we go.
Says it's the one he needs.
I'm actually going to start it over because it's so good. Here we go.
If that's a bass, that's the one we need. Please
Becker
be a bass.
says it's the one he needs. He's 314 back.
Come on. What do we have? Oh, it's a bass, but he's not big enough. How much do we need? How much do we need?
We need 314.
It's going to be close.
We need one more.
£3, 13 ounces.
Oh my gosh, 1 ounce short.
1 ounce shy.
Yeah, come on.
And back
We can
to
get
it is
one more.
Becker. Wow.
Come on.
313 gets him within an ounce.
When he gets a bite, he's been getting multiple bites,
he hit
though.
it. There he is.
And he's got one.
Come on, baby. This is the
2-minute
one.
warning.
You got 2 minutes.
Come on. Yep. Come here. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Come to daddy. Come to daddy.
1 minute 45.
Come here, come here. Yes!
Matt Becker.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes!
Has to be 1-8 or better.
Yes!
2 pounds, 12 ounces.
Yes!
And Matt Becker is a
yes,
dream
yes.
wrecker once again. He has done it time and time again. Matt
Oh
Becker
my God, thank you, Lord.
gets in with a minute and
Made
a
us
half
wait
left.
till the last minute.
I mean, there it is. That tells you. That tells you everything you need to know. It is a superior format, and Matt Becker, Matt Becker, the bass wrecker, as he's known, he showed why. I've filmed. It was super exciting to film that because I love bass fishing, I love fishing, and I love competitive fishing. I haven't done it for a long time, but it's still like to be able to witness those things, to capture that is really, I get charged up about. I love doing that. And this format, the fact that everybody knows how everybody else is doing, that's the other thing too that's so important about this format. Another big thing, all the other anglers know how everybody's doing, just like every other sport. Any sport out there, all the competitors know, okay, how the other competitors are doing. And so it's just, it's just so much better all around. And Matt Becker, hats off to you, dude. You made it in the championship round, and you're Angler of the Year, and you are a person that did a great job explaining why the Major League Fishing format is a better format, and what they got is got to be implemented throughout competitive bass fishing, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, and so moving on, we're going to talk about the fact that Santee Cooper is just absolutely loaded with stumps. Santee Cooper in South Carolina, I had no idea. It's basically a swamp, and it's awesome. So if you're like a power fisherman like I am, just like, shallow water, and you're just covering water, it's not a forward-facing sonar deal so much there. I mean, it can be, but it can also be like really shallow, just pitching to cypress stumps, and they really get on cypress trees really well there. So, but if you're a transfer boat guy, Major League Fishing, the wonderful transfer boat drivers that we have that move us from one angler to another, the camera guys, it's always scary for these guys, and these guys are my friends. It's frightening because these guys, a lot of them do not have the experience on a body of water. So on that body of water, they're going to so many different bodies of water throughout a season. So they have to be very, very careful running, and they are. But on a body of water like Santee Cooper, where there is stumps everywhere, and you're trying to quickly get, relatively quickly, as safe as you can quickly get a camera guy to another boat, it is like, it's an obstacle course, it's a minefield. And to give you an example of that, it's a nightmare. And so to illustrate that, this is what happened. So the championship day, I needed to get moved it was like the first period. And I think they were trying to move me after it was a period break, I'm pretty sure. So it was like the first break. And they came and got me, and I learned quickly that the transfer boat that I was in had a leak, and it had a substantial leak, in that we had to go to the nearest ramp and get this thing onto a trailer because the transfer boat operator hit a stump and was taking on water. So just to show you, like, this is what this.
Okay.
And yeah, you could see clearly that there is a massive crack, and I couldn't get low enough to really document, what. The extent of the damage here, but it was quite. I'm sure it ran the whole. Well, it was definitely more damage there than you could see. You could, if it had a hole in it, you're seeing basically where the drain plug would go in. But I guarantee you that there was damage, on the bottom of the boat. Probably a pretty sizable crack that was making it take on so much water. So Santee Cooper is a nightmare for anybody that is new to a body of water and needs to navigate quickly. I really feel for the Major League Fishing boat officials and the transfer officials that have to get the camera guys safely to competitors to be able to document the competition day, because a body of water like Santee Cooper is a what's the term? It's a target rich. If you want to hit stuff, it's a very target rich environment. So that was something I want to share with you because it's probably something that you don't think often. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into being able to get these tournaments out for people to watch, online, on TV. There's a lot of moving parts, and everybody, I've said this so many times, but bass tournaments I would say they're probably, they've got to be maybe the most difficult sporting event to cover. And so that is just one example of why they are so darn difficult to cover. So moving on, let's see here. There's still, okay, so yes, we've covered that, okay. I was on the camera team of the Red Crest event here recently, the Bass Pro Tour Red Crest, which is the Bass Pro Tour Championship. And really, really cool fishery, by the way. The Lay Lake in Alabama, I don't think I've been on Lay Lake before. I had no idea just all of the incredible, there's just so much habitat, right? So much cover and structure for bass in that lake. It's got amazing spotted bass in it. Really, an average size spotted bass in that lake is really good. It's like 3 pounds. Really good population of good sized spotted bass. Big old largemouth in there, and every conceivable kind of cover and structure that you can fish for bass. There's vegetation, there's everything in there. It is like a playground for a bass fisherman. I kind of had no idea about that in regards to Lay Lake. So really, really cool fishery. And I had the pleasure of working with Ron Nelson on the final day. And Ron was he was basically fishing a dam for most of the tournament. The majority of the time he was fishing a tournament or fishing the dam, and that's how he got into the championship round. And so I was with him the last day documenting his day. And it was very, very cool where we were fishing. This is where we were fishing. We were fishing a dam, the Logan Martin Dam to be exact. And it's really, it's fine. This thing is like over 100 years old. No, is that right? No, it's not over 100 years old. It was built in, gosh, you know what? It might be 100 years old now that I think about it. It was built in the 20s. And then I just realized it is 2024. So yeah, I guess it's 100 years old. So look at this thing. It is it's just cool to actually be around something so massive and man-made, And I just really enjoy just documenting, the day and filming this obelisk. It's bigger than an obelisk. This just giant structure. So not only do you have vegetation to fish in Lay Lake, but and offshore structure and laydowns, and it's up by the dam where I was at, Logan Martin Dam. It's basically a river. So if you love current, you could be fishing current breaks. The spotted bass love that stuff. So it's just a lot of stuff going on that lake. And the fact that you could do this well fishing a dam, most of the tournament, Ron was up there fishing the dam. So, and it was just, it was kind of crazy how much current was ripping through up there. They had 2 turbines going for most of the tournament. And so just really crazy current up there. And Ron was targeting this corner of the dam. And just a corner of the dam, kind of where the second turbine was just blowing out water, right? And, excuse me, I'm a little gassy out anyway, I'm drinking Coke. That's, we don't need to get specific on where my gas is coming from. You probably don't appreciate that. But anyway, so the current was ripping through this turbine, and Ron was just kind of fishing the corner of it, and just tagging some really, really nice spotted bass, some really, quality spotted bass. Got him in the championship round, and he was really, honestly, favored to win this thing, kind of. And so, yeah, so he's up in this current, lots of current, catching big spotted bass, and it's super dramatic. And here's one of these spotted bass right here, and I'm thinking, okay, this guy has got a real good chance of winning this thing, but unfortunately, and if you're fishing dams, especially if you're like tournament fishing, you really need to know the schedule of the dam when they're running water through it. This is a hydroelectric dam, so they're generating electricity. And then if there was a lot of rain, so they're opening up turbines, they're closing turbines, they're shutting down turbines. And so Ron was doing really, really well while there was 2 turbines going. And then they shut down one of the turbines, and that just completely decimated his fishing, unfortunately. And they shut down the second turbine, so they're only operating 1 turbine. And that happened about 1 o'clock, and it totally repositioned his fish so that it just, he couldn't find them. Who knows what happened to him, but they just set up in a different place, and it was done. The whole dynamic of the water down there changed. It wasn't as turbulent, and kind of catfish moved in. And that's the really wild thing about dams, is that there's just so many fish that get below dams. And what I learned from filming Ron on this tournament is that you'll have basically you'll have fish that, different species of fish that kind of, it seems as if there's schools of different species that move in for a little bit and then move out, and then a new species comes in. So he would be catching freshwater drum for a while, and then he'd just have to kind of fish through them. Then all of a sudden it would be all spotted bass. And then he might catch a catfish, but it really seemed like these different species of fish were almost, I know they weren't working together. Hey, we're all gonna eat at this time. Can we agree that we'll have breakfast here, and then you can come in, you can have brunch, or, that's not how it works. But there's something that goes on where a species will move in, it'll be predominantly that species, and then another species, then that species will move out and another species will move in. So it's really, really, really interesting how that happened, and I didn't fully understand or know that was happening. I mean, I fished below dams, but not a ton, and it was definitely the case at the Logan Martin Dam there, that there are species, any dam, there's all kinds of species that go to dams. So, there's striped bass at the Logan Martin Dam, below the Logan Martin Dam. There's, he was catching drum, everything's down there. And it just seemed like they would, especially the drum and then the spotted bass, they were just kind of taking turns, it seemed like. So I thought that was very, very interesting. They were taking turns when to feed, when to come up on that ideal little spot there, that corner where it was calm, but right in front of it, it was just blasting out a ton of current. So it's basically just like a calm area, like similar to a current break, but a calm area by a lot of current. And that's where what Ron was targeting. Unfortunately, when they cut that water, or cut that turbine off, we had to go downstream, and it just wasn't working out for Ron. He still did really well in the tournament. And he placed 3rd, and I believe pocketed $40,000, which I would say ain't too shabby for fishing a bass contest. So there you go. So that was my Bass Pro Tour Stage 2 and Red Crest experience for you. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let's move on to just kind of what's happening in the world of Angling Uploaded. Another, what we're doing here. So Another Fishing Podcast is part of the Angling Uploaded network. And if you are just listening to this podcast, we also have a YouTube channel, and you could just type in Angling Uploaded. So Angling Uploaded is the umbrella underneath that, Another Fishing Podcast. So go to Angling Uploaded YouTube channel, and you can watch some videos. I'm going to be putting up more videos here shortly, and all kinds of fun stuff going on the channel. So check that out. We have Another Fishing Podcast, what you're listening to right now, and then some fishing videos throughout the week. So Another Fishing Podcast on Mondays. I'm trying to get better at this. I really, really am. Another Fishing Podcast on Mondays, and then fishing content, any videos throughout the rest of the week. So check that out. And so speaking of shooting videos and having some more content, so I've shot a lot of videos recently, and specifically down Pool 4 of the Mississippi River. And Pool 4 of the Mississippi River, and this is a dam situation. So you have Everett's Resort. They have a ramp there. Everett's is it's famous. It's legendary for Midwestern anglers. A lot of guys from Iowa, from all over, but Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, they all come to Red Wing to fish. Red Wing, Minnesota is the big city nearby, but Pool 4 is the pool of the Mississippi River that people fish. And the thing that makes it so excellent, there's a number of reasons, but one of the main ones is that it's open all year long, and because of a warm water discharge, a nuclear warm water discharge that keeps it open all winter long. You can fish all year because of special regulations for walleyes, and it's just a lot of fun. So I've been down there a few times, and really with my best fishing bud, Pete Wagner, and Another Fishing Show co-host. So that's if you're just listening to this for the first time, or you're just watching this podcast for the first time. Pete and I. God, I don't know the English language very well, so please bear with me. But we do a show. We've done a show in the past called Another Fishing Show. We have episodes up on our YouTube channel. Check out our playlist, Another Fishing Show. Check out those episodes. But Pete is the co-host of that with me. And we went down to Pool 4, Red Wing, Everett's Resort, and we have had a blast down there the past few weeks. So I'll be editing videos for that. In fact, I'll talk about that here shortly, but they're coming up. Lots of just craziness going on as far as just catching lots of fish, and that's a great thing about it. Dams. We've been talking about dams. These fish just bunch up below dams, okay? And in Pool 4, I believe it's Lock and Dam. Oh, God, I'm going to mess it up. Is it 3? I don't even know what Lock and Dam it is. I should know this. But the Lock and Dam upstream of Everett's Resort there is a lot of fish that just congregate there. And all kinds of fish, like I was saying earlier. So, been down there filming, and just, I got to tell you, man, I have had 2 experiences. So let me back up here. My new friend, Dan Spengler, I did a podcast with him, okay? And maybe I'm going to post what do you call it? It is a little, a tag, or it's not a tag, I should know this, YouTube. I'm going to put a little thing up here that's going to alert you to the video, so you should click on that. Dan Spengler, I did a podcast with him. He is the designer, the hardbait designer. I believe he's also doing terminal tackle stuff too with Berkeley. But I did a podcast with him, which turned into a friendship. He sent me some finishers, Berkeley finishers, and a couple of Credges, by the way. Thank you, Dan. And so he gave me some Berkeley finishers, and they're pretty hard to find, right? So I'm like, this is gold. I took these down here. So these Berkeley finishers are how would you describe them? This is what they look like, all right? This is This is a Berkeley Finisher. And let me tell you, this bait is going to take the world by storm. I am telling you this right now. I'm not making this up. This thing is incredible. I saw underwater, I saw like Berkeley video, and I swear, I've not gotten any money for this or anything. I have gotten some lures, okay? So Dan was kind enough to send me some lures, but I really feel this way about this bait. This lure is going to change. It's a whole new genre, and it's going to change how people. Am I exaggerating here? I don't think so. It's going to change how. It's going to make people. It's going to catch people out of fish. Is what I'm trying to tell you, and it's a completely different genre. Now the reality is, there has been a person online that said to me that maybe there's another company, like a Japanese company, that had something similar to this. I don't know. Maybe you can tell me in the comments, okay? But I don't know. I've not heard of it. And so to me, to my knowledge, this Berkeley Finisher is the only bait that exists that works like this. And how this bait works is it's super erratic, okay? It's super erratic. And I have videos that are coming up that's going to show you all this. But I can't cover it all in this podcast, all right? But this thing, I'm just trying to tell you, in the last few weeks, I've been fishing this thing down for walleye. So a lot of people are talking about bass with this. But I'm telling you, when I saw this thing underwater in this Berkeley promotional video, I was like, this thing is going to kick serious butt. I'm trying to watch my language more as an older man. I'm like, it's just not cool to be swearing as much anymore as you get older, I think. So anyway, this bait is going to really kick some serious butt. I've seen it firsthand. I've caught them crazy down there for walleyes and saugers. And the first time I actually went down there, the first time I used it with a neighbor of mine, and I kind of like put a smackdown on him. I'm not going to lie. And this guy is a much better walleye fisherman than I am. And we were kind of like, I was kind of, and I don't mean to be cocky, okay? This is all the bait. It's not me. It's not my angling prowess. I am not a very good walleye angler. This bait was kicking everybody's tail around us. All right. And then I go down there with Pete Wagner a couple weeks later, or a week later or something, and I absolutely spanked Pete. And then everybody else is like seeing what I'm doing, and there's a lot of boats down there. Pool 4. You'll learn this if you've never been down there and want to go down there. A lot of boats get down there, and they all just kind of start crowding. I've kind of done the same thing. It's okay. It's not like everybody knows the etiquette down there, and there's so many anglers. It's not a problem to get close, so I'm not worried about any of it. It's not like you have a spot. You're all fishing below the dam. But it is kind of funny because I've done the same thing. You see someone starting to catch fish, so you kind of get a little bit closer to them. And anywhere else is probably not okay to do this. It's not, but it is okay below this. Trust me, there's so many fish and so many people. So everybody just kind of like, when someone's doing well, everybody just kind of congregates towards them, Doesn't crowd them too much, but kind of gets closer to them. And that's what was happening with me. And it was on, dude, on. The Berkeley Finisher, I've got videos coming out. It's going to prove it to you. I'm not going to do any fancy editing or anything. It's going to prove to you that this lure is the deal. And when I was saying earlier, I saw underwater footage of this, how erratic it is. So if you haven't seen the underwater footage of this, it's like how would I describe it? It's like a jigging rap without all the weird hooks on it and the weird tail lip fin thing, and it still has this erratic action. It's super erratic action. That's why I think I know why it's so good. It's so erratic. And it's got this tail wag, and you can, like, if you want, you can kind of walk the dog sort of with it underwater, but then it can just go all over in every direction. So with game fish, game fish, predatory fish are highly triggerable. Early on in my career as a videographer, I learned, working with Kevin Van Dam, the king of triggering fish, man. I learned very quickly how important triggering fish is to getting them to bite. And I think Van Dam really kind of, pile drive that into my head. And I've seen it even before that. I've seen it with smallmouth bass on the Susquehanna River. I used to live in Pennsylvania. You'd have a soft jerkbait, right? And a lot of people would just, they'd be with the soft jerkbait, just weightless, just a hook. They would just kind of, do these gentle twitches with it. And that's fine. That'll catch you fish sometimes. But I saw one time when the more erratic that you would jerk this thing, a soft jerkbait, right? Just make it like as hard as you could. These smallmouth would come out of nowhere. I didn't even know they were on a flat, and all of a sudden these smallmouth would come out. The harder that I would work this thing, the more erratic I could work this thing. So, and then later on in my life, working with Van Dam and just seeing how he was just a master at triggering fish, by working lures erratically. So I am a huge, huge proponent of that. And this finisher is the absolute real deal. It's supposedly it was designed for forward-facing sonar specifically, but you don't need forward-facing sonar with it. So what I was doing down there, I was dropping it down just like you'd fish a blade bait, or just fish a jig or something more erratically or more, big pop. So I make a cast, let that finisher drop down, and make a pop. Let it hit the bottom, pop. Make it hit the bottom, pop. Rod tip, just a pop of the rod tip, and then let it hit the bottom. And I mean to tell you, it was super, super impressive. So that video is coming shortly. We'll get that uploaded quickly, and in fact, it's so not this week, but next week you will see the finisher finishing them. All right, so let's see what I got here. What else can we talk about as far as angling uploaded news? Kind of personal news, I guess. Well, no, this is angling uploaded news. This is where we're at in the podcast right now. This is angling uploaded news. The news before that was personal news. I like to categorize everything very specifically here. Yeah, so I talked about Dan, did a podcast with Dan. You need to check that out. Go to, I put a, what do you call it? Whatever it's called on YouTube. But you definitely should check that podcast. If you're only listening to the audio of this podcast, go to Angling Uploaded YouTube, go to the playlists, and then another fishing podcast, and just search out, I can't remember what podcast it is. It's not going to be hard to find it. Dan Spengler. Really, really awesome podcast. He spoke with me for like 2 hours and got really in depth. We got super nerdy about fishing. It's awesome. So check that out. All right, where was I here? So we're talking about the finisher. And now, okay, so let's talk about this week's schedule coming up. So Wednesday, what I have scheduled on the Angling Uploaded YouTube channel is this coming up. It is... YouTube video is going to be called I Caught Something Crazy While Catfishing on the Mississippi River. And boy, did I. So the crazy thing about this, I've learned recently I fish for catfish. Well, I love fishing for catfish, ice fishing for catfish. There's a great body of water not far from me that you can catch catfish through the ice. But I never had much confidence doing it in the winter. I just on rivers is what I'm saying. On lakes, catfish you can readily catch them. If there's a good enough population of catfish, they will bite readily through the ice. But on rivers, I wasn't so confident. So what I've learned is that from the help of an angler that fishes from a boat. I fish from a kayak on the Mississippi River up by my stretch that's near me. so this angler's got this River Pro jet boat, which is it's an awesome, awesome boat, man. And it's a great, fantastic jet drive river boat. And I've run into this guy a few times on the river, and we've kind of befriended each other. And he told me, I've talked with him. He's like, no, dude, you can catch catfish throughout the winter on the Mississippi River. Now, where I'm fishing has a warm water discharge, so it's keeping the water never gets colder than 40 degrees. Okay, where the stretch that I fish. So. But I still, even at that water temperature current, I was like, I guess they just catfish don't bite or something. I don't know. But he has told me that is definitely not the case. And so it's given me renewed confidence to go catfishing on the Mississippi River. And that's what I did. You were going to see that video April 3rd. Okay, it's coming April 3rd, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's called I Caught Something Crazy While Catfishing on the Mississippi River. So be sure to check that out. It's really, I just couldn't believe that this happened. It was, I never experienced anything quite like it before. Using cut bait, okay? Using cut bait, cut suckers. And something really, really, really odd happened. So check that out. That is April 3rd, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. Also, Friday, April 5th at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we are going to be doing the blade bait saugers and walleyes on Pool 4 of the Mississippi River. And this is before I got the finisher, okay, in the mail from Dan Spangler. But it was a really good time. This is right below the dam at Pool 4 near Red Wing, Minnesota. This is a nice sauger on a blade bait. Had a great time catching saugers and walleyes on blade baits right below the dam there. So that is coming April 5th at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Angling Uploaded YouTube channel. So be sure to check that. I'm looking forward to getting that uploaded for you guys. So check that out. All right, so we are going to move to fishing news. Fishing, worldwide fishing news throughout the globe. We cover it all. Oh, I forgot to show you this. I'm wearing my awesome Minnesota, let's see if you can, Minnesota Muskie shirt. I really, really love this shirt. I got the State Fair a couple years back. Almost forgot to show you guys that. So, all right, so we're going to get into fishing news now. So, OutdoorLife.com, and OutdoorLife.com has this article about, and so everything, here's the reality, it is 2024, man. It is April 2024. We're living in the future. We don't have flying cars yet, but boy, we got a lot of other really cool stuff. And it almost kind of feels like the end of the world also. So a lot of cool stuff happening, and it also could be the end of the world. So kind of stressful. I'm kind of a mess. I'm happy, but I'm also kind of a mess because I'm happy because there's all kinds of cool stuff happening in the world, you know, fishing related and just like AI, man. I've got this like Microsoft Copilot AI thing on my phone now that I ask it to make an image. It does it in like 5 seconds. I don't like that it's owned by Bill Gates, you know, Microsoft or what. I don't know. I don't like, I should probably take it off my phone right now that I think about it. But, it's an exciting time to be alive. Okay. And it's, particular, but let me have my throat's getting dry here. Stand by. It's a particularly exciting time to be a fisherman, right? And so it's all about live scope now. Live scope, and it's very controversial. I realize it, but boy, oh boy, it is the future, and we ain't gonna change it. And I don't know, like, there's no stopping this technology. We might as well just like embrace it, and but I want it. I just can't afford it, and so I'm not going to disparage it because I want one of the things. I want 2 units at least in my boat. Okay, one at the bow, one at the console, maybe more. But so here's the thing: in competitive fishing, there's now an angler and there's probably more anglers that are going to be doing this. There's probably anglers already doing this. This is this is a little bit older article now. And so this is from Outdoor Life. There is a Bass Pro that is, well, let's read the article. A Bassmaster Pro is using augmented reality glasses for live scoping. Ed Loughran, I think that's how you spell his or pronounce his name, figured out how to sync. Again, this is from OutdoorLife.com. I want to make sure I credit this. A Bassmaster Pro is using augmented reality glasses for live scoping. Ed Loughran figured out how to sync his forward-facing sonar with augmented reality glasses and plans to fish with them in a tournament later this year. Wow. So, I mean, I guess we kind of figured that this was going to be happening. That guys would be, getting. I mean, it makes sense. I've actually filmed, with glasses like this, plugged into an underwater camera to help me film underwater better. So, and it's really, really helpful. So, this makes a ton of sense, especially for these older guys like myself that just looking down all day would just be, do a lot of damage, I feel like, to my neck and back. So this is a shot of how it would look. So it's pretty exciting technology. So this Ed Loughran is a 53-year-old Bassmaster Elite Series pro, and he admits he's not a technology guy. I can drive a boat and I can drive a truck, he says. But if the motor breaks, I'm out of luck. That's why he's surprised even himself by jumping to the front edge of bass fishing technology. Loughran recently figured out how to link augmented reality glasses with his Garmin LiveScope, essentially getting forward-facing sonar data overlaid on his glasses lens. This means that Loughran doesn't have to look down at a screen while using LiveScope. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Critics compare the tactic to spotlighting deer. Proponents welcome it as the next evolution in the sport. Loughran is somewhere in the middle, but he recognizes that if he's going to compete at the sport's top level these days, he'll need to embrace the technology. Accordingly, he has the best Garmin units available on his Basscat boats and has spent ample time understanding their capabilities. Unfortunately, while he's spry and fit for his age, all that time spent looking down at the screen, I can imagine, has got to be very, very difficult. All that time spent looking down at the screen was taking a toll on Loughran's neck. Listen, man, 53, I'm not far from his age, man. I totally get it. Loughran cobbled together a series of wires with a set of glasses bought on Amazon and shipped from a Chinese factory, which is as far as he was willing to go in describing them. He doesn't want to give up secrets to competitors. He took the augmented reality rig along to break in his boat. It was a sunny day and he had trouble getting used to the glasses, but he gave the Frankenstein contraption another chance when he went out shortly thereafter to dial in his electronics. This time, it was a cloudy day. They were much easier to use, he recalls. I used them for 3 or 4 hours, but after 5 or 10 minutes, I knew it was right. It was on. My eyes and my head were working with them. It's like the equivalent of a 300-inch screen, like sitting in a movie theater. Yeah, this is where it's going, y'all. He'll use the augmented reality glasses when the appropriate opportunity arises, but not without some mixed feelings. I don't know if this is taking us to a good place, but it's going to happen, he says. I think he's right. Now, I think there could be some tournaments where you go, nope, this isn't allowed. We don't need everybody with glasses. I mean, honestly, just as far as like to have glasses, it doesn't look as ridiculous than everybody just, looking down. Maybe it would look more ridiculous if everybody's just kind of, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, there's so much weird, I have a runny nose all of a sudden. There's so much weirdness going on everywhere. Is it because social media just lets us know about everything that's happening in the world? Is that what's happening? I don't know, but there's so much weirdness going on. AR glasses for fishing is just added weirdness atop piles and piles and piles of weirdness. So my head's kind of spinning. I don't even know how to feel about all this stuff, but I know that he's probably right. It's not going to go anywhere. I think maybe, though, we just have to kind of limit it sometimes to some tournaments, maybe the top tournaments, you can do it. Maybe some tournaments, special tournaments, no, you can't do it this special tournament. I think that probably makes sense. I'm not a huge sports guy, but probably in golf, there's special like games that they do, like a skins game. I sound like an idiot, but there's special tournaments that they do throughout the year. Same with like NASCAR. They put governors on cars, to kind of limit them. Something like that probably has to happen in the bass fishing world, competitive bass fishing world. But that being said, this technology is only going to get better and more impressive and cheaper. And wow, when that happens, Katie, bar the door. All right, so right back into it. Another amazing thing. So Jay Siemens, now I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. It's going to be Simon, so I apologize if I'm not pronouncing Jay's name right. But Jay does a ton of great stuff in video production, in fishing, has done a ton of awesome stuff. You really need to check out his YouTube channel. And he did a video relatively recent where he's using AR glasses for ice fishing. All right. And these glasses there's all kinds of new glasses out. Okay. So there's going to be more and more offerings available, I'm sure, when this, maybe even from Lowrance and from when, because this is where it's going. It's going to get too hard to be looking down at a screen all the time. So people they're going to be wearing glasses. So, but Jay found these special, he did a lot of research and he found some glasses that really, really work well with a Garmin unit. And I just got to show you this. So this is from Jay's YouTube channel. Check this out. He's ice fishing with these glasses plugged into his Garmin live scoping unit. And this is the future. Hang on to your hoo-haws, everybody, because this is where we're going in the fishing world.
Today we're going ice fishing with AR glasses. I'm casting my live scope to my glasses. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. This is everything I've dreamed of. We got AI, AR, we got ChatGPT. Guys, the future is here. In today's video, we are taking some VR glasses and we are gonna get our live scope transmitted onto our glasses. Augmented reality. It's not really, as far as augmented reality goes, it's pretty basic. It's just projecting a screen in front of me. There are more, complex ways you can use it where you can move it around and have it track you. But basically, if all works as planned, these X-Real glasses are going to show the live scope on my shades. Let's unbox these glasses. I bought these off Amazon, X-Real. I think they're called the Air Pro 2s. They're more budget version. Obviously, there's the Apple Vision Pro. It's like $3,500 American. They look kind of dorky. These were actually the nicest looking ones. From the research I did, they block the light out the best, and they're compatible with a USB-C device, which is the new iPhone. So anyways, here we got, pretty basic in the box, just your lens case. Ooh, 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 ooh. So one thing they do come with, which some shades don't, is they have this little blackout clip on the front. So if you're like laying in bed and want to watch a movie, you can use this little blackout piece. But basically, this is the glasses. They look like shades from the front. The one thing I've noticed with these shades is they have big nose pieces because you need to keep your face off of it a bit. And then right there are the two screens, you might say. This top piece, that's where all the computing happens. That's where the mini projector is, and then it shoots it on the top part there. So there's a couple buttons on the bottom. One can adjust the brightness of your screen, and one can adjust how dark your shades are. So you can actually make your shades darker or lighter accordingly. But pretty cool. They're powered by USB-C, so I will need to plug them into my phone. And they've got speakers in the back. So when you're listening or watching a show or whatever, you can hear it, but other people can't because it's right beside your ear. So anyways, enough talking about the glasses. We're gonna get it hooked up to the live scope. We'll open this baby up. This is the Garmin GPS map unit. We've got the LVS 34 transducer. All right, so as I mentioned, this gets connected by a USB-C, and that's what actually powers it. So you actually power it off your phone, so you don't have to worry about charging the glasses. We're gonna plug this USB-C in the back here. Then we will plug them into our phone. And I couldn't believe how easy it was when I was testing at home. Literally, you just plug it in, and it works. So now, USB-C goes into my phone. Face ID is not working because I look like a goof. Okay, so the next thing you need to get ready is the Active Captain app. It's a Garmin app, works with certain devices where it'll cast your screen onto your phone. So what I'm doing is I'm casting it from my live scope onto my phone, and then from my phone, it's using the USB-C onto the glasses. So the nice thing about this is now I'm wireless. I don't need to be tethered. You could definitely tether yourself straight to the graph, but now I can move around. So now I can see this screen, and I'm adjusting the brightness, and I can see the live scope screen right now. Okay, so now here on my phone, might be tough to see with the lighting. I'm looking over there because the screen's over there. You can see what I'm seeing here, my live scope screen. Obviously I haven't drilled the hole yet, so it's just a blue graph, and it tracks with my head perfectly right now. So there are obviously, like the Apple Vision Pro, you can drag it around and move stuff and do other apps. Right now, this being basic version, it's just USB-C'ing it to my glasses, and it's basically just projecting it in front of my eyes. It's right in the center of the frame. I see a pike down there. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's a big mark.
I mean, look at
Oh
this.
man.
Look at on the live scope. You can see the pike. It looks just like a pike. You see how long it is.
He's just staring at it.
And then it's right in front of your face.
This is going to be interesting on this rod if he bites.
His glasses.
Got him. Oh my. We got AI, AR, we got ChatGPT, we got a pike. Woo-hoo-hoo! We got the AR glasses and we are catching fish. That was insane. He's a good fish, just at the bottom of the hole. Ooh, I got just a tiny little crappie jig. Oh, baby! Oh man, I just blew Brandon's eardrums. Maybe it's a huge walleye, who knows? Nice gator, look at that, just in the snout. There we go. This might be maybe the biggest and only pike caught using AR glasses. The uses for this, I can't even imagine. I'm picturing driving down the lake, having my mapping overlaid so I don't have to look sideways when I'm in the tiller. I'm sure people are gonna find so many more uses, and I'm betting you companies, graph companies are gonna start dropping headsets. There's no way it's not gonna happen. It's been talked about so much.
I mean, is that not absolutely incredible? And so he's completely right. There's going to be Lorraine, all of them, everybody that's doing any fish finding company's got to be doing live scope or forward facing sonar. So they are going to have to come up with headsets that are going to allow people to just like what Jay was wearing there. That just are, you can see everything that's going on in those sunglasses. They're gonna make sunglasses for anglers where they can see what's going on in their fish finders. It's just going to be here. It's already possible, as Jay demonstrated. So there are so many amazing things happening in the world of fishing, forward-facing sonar, and now the ability to have a heads-up display of what you're seeing, what's happening on your forward-facing sonar unit. A heads-up display, like you're almost like a fighter pilot or something. It's super exciting. I just wish that I had the money right now to get all of it. All right, so let's see. So what are the plans for fishing this week and capturing content? So let me go through that. We're going to wrap this up real quick. Almost done with this podcast, but want to just talk about what's in schedule, what's in store for this week. The weather is phenomenal. What's in store for as far as me fishing, but then also making content. So the weather is phenomenal. We had a little bout of winter. But now the weather is awesome. So I'm really looking forward to that. We have 60s forecast at the end of the week. And so I'm probably going to go back to Everett's Resort, fish pool 4 with the finisher. Although I got my dog. See, my dog is missing me. I got to get back upstairs to feed my dog and spend time with the dog. It's a whole thing, But Pool, what was I talking about? So pool 4, I'm going to go back down there. I only have so many finishers left because unfortunately I have been snagging them and losing them. So Dan, if you're watching this podcast, you're listening to this podcast, hey man, I wouldn't be sad if you sent me some more. So, but not necessary, but I wouldn't be sad. So I'm planning on going down there and also planning to do a catfishing little video out of my kayak on the Mississippi River. Maybe do a crappie thing too. Maybe start fishing for some crappies. I am not allowed to fish for smallmouth bass in Minnesota or walleyes, except special regulation waters like Pool 4 of the Mississippi River. Minnesota slaps me and says, no fishing for smallmouth anymore until like May or something. No fishing for walleyes inland anymore. You cannot do it. It's very difficult for me. This can be a very trying time of year for me, but I'm working through it. So that is the plan for this week. Also, just to wrap up here, to follow us, if you're new to listening to us or watching this YouTube channel, if you want to just listen to the podcast, we're available on every podcasting app imaginable, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, we're on all of them, so check it out there. If you're what did I say? If you were just watching this podcast, yeah, that's the way to listen to it. If you are listening to this podcast, you want to watch the podcast, go to Angling Uploaded, the YouTube channel. Okay. Go to the Another Fishing Podcast playlist, and that's where you'll find all of the Another Fishing Podcast episodes. And then also check out our Instagram. Our Instagram has a lot of great content on there too. Angling Uploaded Instagram. So that is the podcast number 52, April 1st. Happy April Fool's Day, everybody. It has been a pleasure talking my ear off with you guys. Talking your ear off.